Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. From their latest album, The Human Condition, there is Blackstone Cherry. And again, on Rock and Metal Revival, we want to welcome back to the show lead guitarist Ben Wells. Welcome back to the show, Ben.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you. I think the last time we spoke with you, actually, was the release of Family Tree, and a lot sure has happened since the release of that album. And were you able to incorporate all these crazy times into the writing and recording process for this latest album?
I mean, a little bit. You know, we had a lot of the stuff already kind of figured out before the pandemic hit. You know, we were starting to gather song ideas and stuff at the about this time last year and at the top of this year. And we got in the studio to record, 1st of March. And that was right when everything was starting to happen. So, you know, we kind of used it to our advantage. Like, we were in the studio recording, and meanwhile the world is shutting down and all of our tour dates are disappearing. So we kind of just shut that off, honestly, and just focused all of our energy and emotion into making this album because we at least knew we'd have that to show for this year.
Well, you know, now I've had the opportunity to listen to this album a couple of times all the way through, and it seems to me, as a fan of the band, that on this record, that everything that I've come to love about Blackstone Cherry has been incorporated into this release. Have you seen this album as a growing process?
It has been. I mean, we always try to grow musically, and with each album, we always grow as individuals, and you know, we never want to make the same thing over and over again. I think we are always rooted in rock and roll, and but we always like so many different things. But with this album, I think we got back a little bit to some of the early days of what we were doing. Is just, you know, straight ahead riff rock and roll and big loud drums and bass, and that felt really good to kind of bring that element back into this record.
Well, you know, one of the best things about the band for me over the years has been how well your music translates from the recorded versions to your live performances. I bet you can't wait to try these songs out on Fans Live.
We cannot wait. You know, and it is a different world. Normally we'd probably be out on the road right now. Well, we would be, actually. But you know, it is what it is. We have to kind of, you know, can't dwell on that. We have to just be proactive and think ahead. But we will be so looking forward to getting out there and playing a lot of these songs live because they, you know, a lot of these songs, just like most of our songs, are written with the live performance in mind.
Exactly. You know, listening through the album, one of my favorite songs on this new album is the song Ringing in Your Head. And I had read that song didn't make the cut for Family Tree. There's a song I'm looking forward to seeing live.
Yeah, that song was written in 2017, and ironically enough, the lyrics seem to play into what's happening now. So it's just one of those weird situations where, for whatever reason, it didn't make that album, but it did make this one, and I'm glad it did because that song is so much more relevant now, had it being released this year versus being released, you know, in 2018.
You know, another track that I'm really digging, Ben, off this is called Push Down and Turn. It's a little heavier side of Blackstone Cherry on this release. Now, is that a newer song, or is that one's been hanging around for a while? Because I love it.
Thank you. We had the music to that written, well, the majority of the music was written in 2016, but we didn't really have any words or any melodies. We just had the riff, and that was basically it. We got in the studio. We loved the riff. So we created a new bridge and a new verse and everything for it, and wrote the lyrics. And the lyrics were really inspired by, you know, Chris has always been outspoken and an advocate on, you know, mental health and you know, getting help if you need it. And that's essentially what this song talks about. The Push Down and Turn was inspired by the top of one of his prescription bottles, you know, and it's a kind of a unique way of saying, hey, it's okay to get help. You know, we all need help. You know.
Exactly. We all do on a daily basis, especially with the current situation with the COVID. Did that change the way? I know you guys, when you guys usually go into the studio, you guys go in as a band. You're not one to each mail your pieces in. Did this whole process, I know you said you were pretty much almost done with it before the COVID started, but was this a whole band project where you guys were in the studio together?
Oh, yeah. We were all in there together, and we kind of essentially were quarantining them together in a way, because we would go to the studio, then we would go home and go right back to the studio, and we didn't really do anything else. So we kept ourselves safe and healthy, but we were always all in there together, and that's something that's very important to us, is because we're always changing stuff on the fly in the studio, because it's a very creative and inspiring atmosphere. So we always want everybody else's input when we're in the studio, making music.
Well, I know this whole situation has been hard on all of us for 2020. It's been a strange year, and I know it has to be hard on you guys who play a lot of shows and not being able to connect with your fans, because you're one of the bands that I know if I hang out long enough at the venue, I'm going to get to actually sit and talk to you guys. It's got to be hard not seeing your fans out on the road.
It really is. That's something we miss a whole lot, is just the camaraderie, not only between the fans, but like the band and crew being on the bus, and then of course meeting and talking to our wonderful fans before and after shows, and taking photos and hearing them tell us stories about certain songs that have affected them in a way. And that's just something that you can't replace with anything else. So I cannot wait to get those feelings back, and to be able to get back to that element again.
Now, I was just reading today before we got on the phone here that I had read something about a broadcast show called Live from the Sky. What can you tell us about that, Ben?
Yeah, so it's essentially, a lot of these bands are doing these live streams right now, and this is our take on a live stream, except it's more like we're calling it a broadcast concert, because we actually filmed it last week in a beautiful theater in Bowling Green, Kentucky, called the Sky Pack. And, of course, it was an empty room, but we set up kind of in a circle like we would be at our practice house, jamming and writing songs together. And we had a great film crew come in there, and we recorded all the audio and the film, and it's being edited now, and people can buy that. It's only $10 a ticket, and it'll come out the same day the album comes out. And, it's just our way of getting people a concert, from the comfort of their house.
Well, Ben, I was fortunate enough to see a socially distanced outdoor show earlier this year with Blackberry Smoke in a baseball stadium. And I see that you guys are also doing kind of that kind of show. Do you think that is where we're going to be as far as a direction going into 2020 until they get a grasp on things, these socially distanced concerts?
Yeah, I think so. And, honestly, I'm happy that we at least have that, for a while there, it was looking pretty bleak, It's like, well, we have to do something. And so I'm glad that promoters and venues are being proactive and just thinking outside the box and being creative on ways to bring live music to people safely until we can get this thing under control. But, I think for the time being, that's probably the way to do it, be it indoors or outdoors. It's going to have to be certain capacity, spaced out. But, hey, it's better than nothing.
Amen. It is better than nothing. Well, hey, one thing I wanted to talk to you about that I was very happy to get it into my ears earlier this year was the Cherry Truck Band. Now, you guys in Monster Trucks are two of my favorite bands to go out and see live. How did that all come about, Ben?
We've known Monster Trucks since 2016, and we've had them on tour with us in Europe, and we've done some shows together in the States. And really, it came about, we were all trying to think of ways to keep ourselves creative and keep our fans engaged with what we were doing. And we had the idea to, let's team up, because both bands are similar in the sense that we love big guitar riffs, and we said, let's team up and let's do a series of Facebook Lives, and let's write a song live to the world, and then let's go record it and put it out there for free. So it was a really cool experiment that we did, and I think hopefully we'll be able to do more of those. But it was really cool. We wrote the song, we went to the studio, recorded all of our parts, sent it up to them. They recorded their parts. And then a guy named Jordan Westfall, who is our touring monitor engineer, and he also mixed our new album. He did all the mixing and editing of it, and it just came out phenomenal. It sounds like we were all there together the whole time. I love that.
It is a great song, and I hope I speak for all the fans out there, Ben, as far as the music lovers out there. We appreciate the fact that you guys are still giving us new music and something to look forward to. And as a fan, I want to say thanks.
Well, just as much as I know, we know our fans want stuff. We want to do stuff. We want to bring ourselves to the people. And, releasing this album this year, it was in question at first. We put it out this year, and Do we not? Do we wait? But I'm glad we are, because it gave people and ourselves something to look forward to, something positive, and I think that's what we need now more than ever.
Well, I know, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't 2021 the 20th anniversary of Blackstone Cherry?
It is. It's crazy to think about.
You got something up your sleeve for that?
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll do something. What it is, I'm not sure. I guess it depends on the climate of the landscape of the touring world. But we definitely have to celebrate it in some way. We can't just let it go by.
Well, I know, me for one, I'm glad that Blackstone Cherry got together and do what you do. And Ben, we appreciate your time today. And we always let the artist pick the tune on the way out of the interview. So can you give us one off this new release that it's kind of special to you, or you're looking forward to everyone hearing?
There's so many songs on here that are, they mean different things. But I will pick my wife's favorite song, which is If My Heart Had Wings, which is a great ballad on there that reminds me of, 90s Aerosmith, because I love Aerosmith. And we had this song. It's about 10 years old, and we brought it back in the studio and juiced it up a little bit. And it's one of my favorite ballads on the album.
All right. Well, Ben Wells, we appreciate you taking out some time with us today to talk to us on Rock and Metal Revival, and you're always welcome back here, and stay safe and stay well, my friend.
Thank you. You as well.